some people just don't believe that advertising works, and then they lose their cat and they put a sign up on a lamppost, and lo and behold, the cat turns up because someone found it, and they're like, oh, actually that is advertising, right?
I love seeing the correlation between our spend going out and then business results upticking.
Yeah.
So I'll take a client of mine, Airtasker. So it's an app that basically connects taskers, people willing to do odd jobs of any description, with people willing to do those jobs. So a long tail of service people who want to do odd jobs, whether that be clearing rubbish, whether that be fixing a sink, putting shelves up.
Okay.
We've run campaigns for them in several cities, but in London, the client just showed me the dashboard that showed the number of tasks exactly correlating with when we've gone on air. So we're advertising and just seeing huge spikes. So we have to remind ourselves, just things like that make our job worth doing. So actually seeing the effects, seeing the fact that their business is thriving. Same with Amex. When we see, I think you need to get out of the game. If you aren't motivated by seeing your clients do well and the business results flow from what you're doing, it's time to jump ship and do something else.
I think you're probably right.
It's good to remind ourselves when you see your own work out in field, it's great. It still feels good. And I feel even better when I've driven business results.
Yeah, the numbers back it up. You're like, we think this is a good campaign. Yeah, 100%. I agree with you. It's a stupid
Otherwise
example.
we're all in the wrong job.
Yeah, exactly. And it's like all types of advertising work. And I always give this stupid example, but like I can tell you what the number one rated 100-inch TV is because TCL, which is the brand that created it, advertise on the billboards at Arsenal where I sit and watch them week in, week out.
It might not be immediate as well, so that often ads can have a subliminal effect.
Totally agree.
You don't realize that everyone doesn't think advertising affects them, which is again part of the perception that higher up in the C-suite people don't see the value of marketing, and the less sophisticated ones see it as a cost and not an investment. But it might not necessarily pay back in the immediate term, and so the whole Binet and Field, long and short of it, validates that over time it pays to build a brand.
Totally agree.
And it give you more pricing power. It's going to give you more earned media value. It's going to create more talkability, and it's going to fortify your brand to make sure that actually the performance layers of your media plan are going to work much harder if you've got a really powerful brand message at the top of the house. Initially, when I started my career, I wanted to get into TV production or journalism. The craft of planning brought me into this. And I worked at Ministry magazine, and I worked at T4 at Channel 4. And Margarita Taylor, showing my age, when Dermot O'Leary and Margarita Taylor were still presenting. Yeah. But actually, the challenge of working at an agency and working across multiple brands has kept me engaged all these years, because it actually is quite a cerebral, not pastime, challenge. There is a challenge in understanding what clients want and need from us as agency partners, and then putting a plan from a brief into action. And so I've won quite a lot of awards in my time. Nice. Not beating my chest about that, but it generally, what matters most is the recognition and trust of my clients that we're doing the right things and we're driving the business results, because that's what makes me happy.
Yeah, because you do often hear it's like, well, it's the creative that matters the most, and it's certainly a good creative will help any campaign, but if no one sees it or the right people don't see it,
tree falls in a forest and no one's there.
Bingo! Did it even fall? You know? So
did it make a sound? Yeah, can't remember the cliche now.
Yeah, it's a cliche for a reason, right?
Well, that's where data again can help to make sure that the media placements that we put out there are contextually targeted, they're to the right audience, that they're viewable, that there's a higher attention. So attention is also something that's it's a bubbling topic. It's been bubbling for a while, and we're applying that data to our plan. So on Just Eat, we've normalized our CPMs.
Okay.
We've basically, by channel, we've worked with Lumen and previously Amplified Intelligence to really interrogate the cost that we're paying by the amount of attention that each ad is getting. So we've essentially, it's called CPM IQ. So it's impacts quality. Actually, I always get this wrong. It's either IQ CPM or CPM IQ. Either way, it's about making sure that we're recalibrating plans towards channels that drive the most attention, and that's driving more efficiency, and it's also driving better business results.
Cookies are disappearing somewhat. It's been delayed again. Do you think the attention metric is there because there are fewer and fewer identifiers that historically you would have relied on for behavioral-based targeting of campaigns?
To some extent, yes.
Okay.
I think we've been drifting towards a cookieless world for a long time. However much Google try to kick it into the long grass to save their money. But there will be identity solutions that will mean that we can still target with accuracy.
Yeah.
I think attention just adds another layer of intelligence to our planning, which would be kind of foolish to ignore. So I think as planners, we've got to look at synthesize all the information available to us, all the audience insights available to us, all the data available to us, and interpret that again with a human brain as opposed to an algorithm to come up with the right solution for each client.
Yeah, I think that is something quite interesting because it's like let me take a few steps back. Like I've always thought the cookie is like, it's a really funny thing to deal with, because you could have an ad on any website, right? And one brand might see that cookie and think, we think this is worth $5 for a bid. And then another brand might think, well, we only think it's worth $1. And that is almost random to a degree. And if you're looking at what really in programmatic marketing should be and is quite a commoditized way of looking at it. It's like it's
an auction.
It's an auction, and you're buying similar. So like it's a 300 by 250, or it's a 728 by 90, or it's a video unit. Like they're standardized, commoditized ad units that has this weird coefficient of a cookie, which is like, well, actually, that MPU is worth $10 and that MPU is worth $3, and I think that makes a publisher's life quite challenging. And I think that with what you're talking about in terms of attention and how that can impact the results of a campaign, that's really innovation happening kind of outside of the actual auction. And the auction is really just buying and selling as it should do. And it allows businesses like UM and actual publishers that are like, we know we have a great audience. We write this type of content. It's a page about sport and we have the best sport writers. So we get like a really well-informed sports audience that could be good for Challenger brand, or that could be for Nike or Adidas, whoever, and I think you're allowing the pipes to be more like pipes, and it allows, as you kind of said at the top of the episode, human ingenuity coupled with more commoditized data without this weird cookie coefficient is actually quite a nice way to go, because it allows humans to gain wisdom from the data and then make recommendations, put together really comprehensive plans to deliver results like you talked about with Airtasker.
Well, collaboration is key for any good output. If you can operate without ego, I think you get better results, because great ideas can come from anywhere. I hate this not invented here approach to ideas, which gives some, and not just creative agencies, but they are famous for it. If it's not invented here, we're not going to go with this idea. If you democratize ideas and in the right forum, so at UM we have an initiative called Fearless Ideas Forums, where we get agencies, so us, the media agency, the creative agency, any other associate, if there's standalone digital agencies, we get those involved. And importantly, the client, and distill a really good brief, distill it into a key question, have an open forum, a discussion where we try to basically ideate around that distilled insight and come up with great ideas, and then hone those ideas down and then make them happen. I guess the best example of one that's come to life is we've got a new Amex Gold campaign coming up, and we've got loads of music festivals that we kind of have our logo attached to. Is there a way we can make, instead of paying a royalty fee to an artist, an established artist, why don't we do something authentic for music fans, for people who love live music, and give unsigned artists the opportunity to submit their work and have a chance to not only feature in this TV ad,
that's awesome,
but also get the royalty for that, and feature in one of the Amex sponsored music festivals. So Unsigned was born from a Fearless Ideas forum with the clients. Nice. They co-authored that. It's now in its second year. We extended it to actually help a venue because obviously COVID has decimated the live music scene, and venues are the crucible of live music. Without those new acts, you don't have the next Ed Sheeran or the don't know why I mentioned him, or the
well, he used to just show up in pubs, didn't he? So kind of he was unsigned at some point.
Actually, it reminds me of the Oasis. So now they've reformed. More than half of the original venues that they started out at on their opening tour have disappeared.
Really?
So we helped sponsor. We completely renovated the Dome in Tufnell Park.
Oh yeah,
and that was helped bring it back to life. We had sessions with up and coming musicians to mentor them. So we had a load of music industry experts. We've created a documentary on Amazon Prime, and Amex have seen great business results in the back of it. So we've got shortlisted for Cannes. We got awarded at the Festival of Media. Long-winded way of saying great ideas come from collaborating without ego, but bringing the clients along for the journey, not doing a ta-da, working with them, iterating to come up with the best output.
Yeah. What do you think the future of planning looks like for Amex, should we say, in 5 years' time?
I think AI will still be part of the process, but I think it won't be the key determinant of the output of a plan. I think it will always rest on planners' ingenuity, intelligence, interpretation of the data.
Yeah.
I think the complexity of planning will only increase. It's only ever increased since I started the game.
Fair enough.
Which is why I've maintained my interest in advertising so long, because we live in a landscape that's continually evolving. We need to make sure that we're creating client-based solutions that are reactive enough to that changing landscape. So to summarize, I think planning will still be reliant on the intelligence of human beings and the creativity of great minds. And I think we'll use technology and data to help navigate things as best we can as things get increasingly more complex. But I think I'm optimistic because we've already got a great arsenal of data and tools at hand to be able to help plan with precision. So we've got econometrics. Well, at UM we have full funnel modeling. We have attention planning. We have a new suite of tools that we've just rolled out as part of Full Color Media.
Nice.
So an audience console, planning console, and reporting console, which is all interconnected. We have utilize Asana and task management, so that all becomes a bit more streamlined. How do I feel about planning in the next 5 years? Optimistic.
If you enjoyed that episode, there's many more on our YouTube channel, on our Spotify and Apple Podcasts. So make sure you don't miss the next episode. Make sure you have your notifications turned on so you can hear the next great conversation we have with our next guest.